When fixing a blower, the routine is fairly cut and dry. Check to see if it runs, go through the fuel system, and then tune the carb if needed. But on the blowers from this particular brand, sometimes things get a bit loose and need a bit of tightening, so the routine will need to be changed. However, this one has a terrible surprise waiting for us, but let's get it running first, then we'll deal with the bigger problem. In today's video, we're going to be looking at this Poland leaf blower, and the problem is that I know nothing about it, but by the way it looks, it's probably not going to start. Two-stroke equipment does not like being kept idle for a long time, and who knows when this one was last used. It's also missing the air filter cover, which, if you didn't know, can be extremely difficult to find, but we won't worry about that right now. So I'm going to try and repair this leaf blower, but yours might be different, so this might not work on yours. And if things are not working out for you, like in the video, please ask about it, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. This blower is also covered in a lot of dirt, which we'll have to take care of, but only after we figured out that it's repairable. The first thing that we'll need to do is slowly pull on the rope and feel how much the engine is fighting back. And luckily for us, the engine is fighting back just enough, meaning it's not worn out. But if your rope is very easy to pull, it could mean the engine is worn out to a point that it won't be able to start and run. And after looking inside the fuel tank, we can see that the fuel filter is still connected, which gives us hope that the carb will be in good condition. Next, we'll put some fuel into the carb and then try starting it. That had to be the longest test run I've ever had, which could mean there was already fuel inside the carb, and that's why the engine ran as long as it did. Now because it ran so well during our test, I'm going to put some fresh fuel into the tank and see what happens. And after purging the air from the lines, it's obvious that the return line is broken, but at least the carb is full of fuel now. We'll then follow the printed instructions on the blower and then try starting it. Hopefully it starts and runs, but if it doesn't, we're going to have a lot of work on our hands. So it ran for about 5 seconds, which is pretty good, and who knows, we might be able to get away with just tuning the carb. However, just because we can get away with it doesn't mean it's the best choice either. And I would feel a whole lot better if we at least opened the carb for an inspection. And if everything is good inside the carb, then it'll make me feel a whole lot better about the repair. There's nothing wrong with taking a shortcut just so long as it's your own machine. But since I do plan on selling it, I think doing a decent job would be better for everyone. But what would happen if we adjusted the carb and then kept using it? Well, without inspecting it, the diaphragm could already be hardening, and if unchecked, it could get worse until the blower won't start one day. So I have been asked what are the default carb settings, and to be honest, I don't know what they are. But the problem is that even if I knew what they were, doesn't mean it'll work for your carb either. But I would like to know what the settings are on this carb, just in case I need to put them back where I found them later on. Of course, you're welcome to use these settings, but there's no guarantee that it's going to work for yours. The main reason in needing to know the settings would be if you took out the screws to clean the carb. And even though I've done it in the past, it's not needed in most cases, and it depends on the condition of the carb. So how bad does it have to be for me to take out these adjustment screws? The best answer would be what it looks like when you take the carb apart. You'll be looking for heavy sediments or possibly even a varnish covering the metal. But what we find instead is an almost pristine carb with nothing coating it at all. And besides a rather discolored purge bulb, the rest of the carb is in great condition. The problem is that I don't recall how I even found this blower, but it's been in the garage for at least a year or two. So I'm very surprised by the condition of the carb, although the rest of the fuel system didn't fare so well. But just because this side of the carb looks good doesn't mean the other side, where the metering diaphragm is, will look the same way. And unfortunately, the diaphragm, which is supposed to be very flexible, has lost at least half of it and will need to be replaced. So you can buy just the diaphragm. You don't have to buy the full rebuild kit unless you want to. Also, the diaphragm is not completely hardened up, which means we might be able to save it by putting it into a rejuvenation bath for the next project. And unless you've got time to wait for it to soften up, in the meantime, we'll be installing a new diaphragm instead. Also, for those keen-eyed viewers, you'll notice that I didn't bother spraying the carb down with cleaner, and that's on purpose. Because of the overall condition of the carb and how it worked during the test run, I decided not to bother with the cleaner. However, if you feel like the one you're working on is in need of a good cleaning, then by all means use a cleaner of your choice. The last thing we're going to do before we try and put the blower back together is of course redo the fuel lines. And for some reason the fuel lines are two different sizes, so I'm choosing to keep it that way. But if you don't want to order a smaller line size, you're welcome to make the smaller opening the same size as the other one. So they had the smaller line be the fuel filter line, but to be honest, it doesn't matter which one you choose. But if the opening is a bit too small for the fuel line to pass through it, I would cut the fuel line at an angle, and this along with some bent pliers should help to get the line into the tank. I'm also going to reuse the old filter, however if you think yours is bad then I would just replace it. These filters are not that expensive and are very important to the fuel system, because if you run your machine without a filter, the carb will get clogged with debris and stop working. I know this because years ago I tried it and found out after 10 minutes of use what happens. Once the filter line has been ran, we'll then run the return line in the other opening. And after pulling at least an inch of line into the tank to keep it from falling out, we'll then cut the fuel lines close to length and then move on to the last maintenance item. Now this one is a bit touchy, so I'll make my case and then you can decide what you want to do with it. If you don't let your two-stroke engines get hot enough, carbon can build up in the exhaust and get caught in the spark arrestor screen. Even worse, it can start to clog up the exhaust port, which is often overlooked. Unfortunately, on the way to look at the screen and the exhaust, come to find out the engine seems to be a bit loose in the blower housing. That could mean the 4 bolts that hold the engine to the housing have backed out over time and need to be checked. This is not a small task, but it's not that bad, especially if you have a power tool to help out. And once the front housing is out of the way, we can see the 2 top bolts, and after giving them a turn, it does confirm that they were indeed loose. That means the bottom 2 bolts could be loose as well, but to get to them, we'll have to take the impeller off the engine. Also, if you wanted to, you could take the bolts out and apply some medium string thread locker to them, but it's not needed. And once the bolts have been tightened, we'll then install the impeller and the housing, and then finally take off the muffler and inspect it. I probably should have left the blower apart for the inspection just in case the engine needed to come out. But I was very certain that wasn't the case here, but you might want to consider leaving it apart. So here's the exhaust port, and we'll need to get a lot closer to inspect it. And once we do, we can see that the buildup is very minimal, and even though I could clean what little is there, I'm instead going to leave it the way that it is and inspect the screen next. After taking the plate off the muffler, we can now see the screen, and surprisingly, it's really clean. And as you can see, there's almost no buildup of carbon on the screen, which means we can then install it back into the muffler. A lot of people have recommended that you throw these away, but I'll leave that choice up to you. So when connecting the fuel lines, the return line will connect to the brass port closer to the bulb. That only leaves us with the fuel filter line, and that will connect to the brass port further away from the bulb. And to make it easier to film the flow test, I'm going to loosely install the carb to the engine and then add some fuel to the tank. Now you don't have to do it this way, you can do the test with the blower completely back together. So when pressing on the purge bulb, fuel will come up the filter line and enter the carb, fill the bulb, and then leave the carb and go back to the fuel tank through the return line. And as you can see, fuel is flowing just like it's supposed to, but if yours is not doing this, then there might be a problem with the carb. And if you take the carb apart and clean it more than a couple times and it's still not filling the bulb up, then I would recommend replacing the carb instead of using more of your precious time trying to fix the old one. Don't worry, these carbs are not very expensive unless you're insisting on getting an OEM carb. Once the carb is back on, we'll then replace the last couple of pieces and finally try and start it. This would also be the time we try and make any adjustments to the carb if it's not running properly. So in the middle of adjusting the carb, something odd was happening. It seemed like the engine was slowing down while at idle, which is not normal. But by the end of it, it seemed to be doing a whole lot better. However, that's not going to last for very long. So for the most part, everything is working about the way it's supposed to, but after letting it cool down and doing more testing, things got a lot worse. Now don't worry, I'll talk more about the issues it was having off camera during the testing, but the problem was something I've never seen before. This was just another reminder that extensive testing needs to be done after you fix your machines. The reason why is you never know if a new problem is going to pop up and ruin your project. And that's because it certainly ruined the progress on this project. So my question is, how much testing should you do on a finished project? Just a couple of test runs or until you know there's not going to be a problem with it? Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask me any questions about this project or about your own projects, and I hope to see you in the next video.